Hi, boys and girls. Please open up your textbook to page 196, lesson 2 of chapter 6, Building Communities. In 1492, an Italian explorer named Christopher Columbus sailed from Spain. An explorer is a person who goes to find out about a place. Columbus thought that if he sailed west across the Atlantic Ocean, he would reach the part of Asia that Europeans called the Indies. Instead, he reached an island off the coast of North America. At that time, people in Europe did not know about the Americas or the continents of North America and South America. Down below, you'll see a picture of Christopher Columbus, who came to the Americas with 3 sailing ships. I'm not sure if you remember the names of those ships, if you've learned that in the past, but they were the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. I also want you to think about for a moment what kind of character traits an explorer like Christopher Columbus would have to travel halfway around the world not knowing where he was going. At that time, some people still believed that the world was flat, the earth was flat, so there was a possibility in the back of his mind that he would just fall off the edge of the planet. So I want you to think about that because we'll be discussing that together in class. Page 197, Exploring North America. This fort at St. Augustine, completed in 1695, is one of the few remaining Spanish buildings in Florida. I did go to visit this city on my honeymoon, believe it or not, and it is the oldest city in the United States of America. That's St. Augustine, Florida. Okay, exploring North America. Soon, other European explorers came to the Americas. Some hoped to find treasure and to spread their religion or belief system. Others came to claim land. To claim something is to say it belongs to you. Spanish explorers. This is a subheading under the heading Exploring North America. In 1565, the King of Spain sent Pedro Menendez de Aviles to what is now Florida. He built a fort named St. Augustine there. St. Augustine is the oldest lasting settlement in the United States. A settlement is a new community. Spain claimed much of South America and the southern part of North America. Mexico and most countries to its south share a Spanish heritage. Take a look here at this picture. It says in 1513, Spanish explorer Juan Ponce de Leon first claimed the land that is now Florida for Spain. So at that point, back in the 1500s, Florida, which is now part of the United States, was owned and claimed by Spain. Here's a picture on page 198. Native Americans and settlers leaving after trading fur near what is now Missouri. Okay, here's another heading in our chapter, a French settlement. French explorers also came to North America. They claimed much of what is today Canada. The French also claimed the middle part of what is now the United States. In 1763, Pierre Laclede traveled up the Mississippi River. He was looking for a good place for a fur trading post. Laclede chose a spot near a cliff along the river. He knew he could use the river to move furs by ship. In 1764, he began a settlement there that later became St. Louis. It was named for King Louis XV of France. Okay, here's the Roman numerals XV, which stand for a 10 and a 5, which is the number 15. Laclede said, "This settlement will become one of the finest cities in America." Page 199. Building St. Louis. The settlers first built shelters in which to live and work. A settler is one of the first people to live in a new community. These buildings included a large house for trading furs, cabins for workers to sleep in, and sheds for storing things. The settlers later built a church and a fort. Many people traveling west passed through St. Louis. Some stayed and settled there. By 1765, St. Louis had more than 300 settlers. In the 1800s, the city became one of the largest river ports in the nation. Today, St. Louis is a large city. Here's a picture of St. Louis today and its famous arch. I actually went up in that arch about 25 years ago. They have like this little kind of an elevator system that takes you all the way to the top, and there's windows that you could see the whole city from there. And here down below is a drawing of St. Louis, which was a busy river port in 1874. Page 200, an English settlement. In 1607, 3 ships sailed from England to North America. They landed in what is now the state of Virginia. Some of the 105 passengers hoped to find riches and a way to the Pacific Ocean. Others wanted to spread their religion. They named their settlement after their king, James I. Jamestown was the first lasting English settlement in North America. Boys and girls, notice the Roman numeral 1 here, James I. It's not the letter I, meaning James I. Okay, James I. Subheading of an English settlement, conflict and change. An early leader of Jamestown, John Smith, traded with Native Americans to get food for the settlers. Over time, the settlers came into conflict or disagreement with Native Americans. They fought over food and land. And you have to remember, boys and girls, that the Native Americans were here first, and we kind of moved in on their land. Okay. Page 201. In 1612, John Rolfe began growing tobacco in Jamestown. To grow tobacco and other crops, the settlers needed more workers. Beginning in the 1600s, people were brought from Africa and forced into slavery. Slavery is a system under which people have no choices. The Africans had been taken from their homes and families. Then traders had brought them to North America, where they worked as enslaved people. An enslaved person is owned by another person and forced to work without pay. Here is a picture of Pocahontas. I'm sure you're all very familiar with her. She was the daughter of Chief Powhatan. He was the leader of the Powhatan, the Native Americans who lived near Jamestown. And this down here is a picture of Jamestown today, which is a National Historic Site. Page 202, another English settlement. The Wampanoag, okay, here's how to pronounce that, were the first people to live where Plymouth, Massachusetts is today. They fished the nearby Atlantic Ocean and grew corn and other crops. Pilgrims come to Plymouth. In 1620, a ship called the Mayflower carried more people from England to North America. They wanted to live where they could be free to follow their religion. Because they traveled for religious reasons, they became known as pilgrims. The pilgrims looked for a good place to build a settlement. They found a harbor with deep water where ships could come close to shore. John Smith had named the place Plymouth. Boys and girls, I'm sure you've heard of Plymouth Rock. It is said to be the big rock that the Pilgrims first set foot on when they landed in Plymouth, Massachusetts. I have visited that historic site as well, and unfortunately that big, huge rock is probably no bigger now than the size of your desk. Okay, Boys and girls, there is a picture here of Indian corn. Native Americans taught pilgrims how to grow corn. And down here at the bottom is a timeline. Okay, so a timeline shows us major events happening over a period of time. So in the 1500s, you have 1565 when Pedro Menendez de Aviles built his fort named St. Augustine. In 1607, Jamestown is settled for King James I of England. In 1620, people from England start the community of Plymouth. That's when the Pilgrims came on the Mayflower. And in 1764, Pierre Laclede founded St. Louis for France. Page 203, the Mayflower Compact. The Pilgrims wrote a compact, which is a fancy word for agreement, that set up a government for their community. In the Mayflower Compact, the Pilgrims agreed to make fair laws for the new community. They also promised to obey these laws. The Pilgrims would govern themselves. Here is a picture also of what we call our very first Thanksgiving in the fall of 1621. The Pilgrims celebrated their first harvest with the Wampanoag tribe. Many people think of this as the first Thanksgiving. So in summary, we had explorers from Europe claiming many areas of North America. Settlers from different countries built new communities in what is now the United States. Okay, boys and girls, at this point, there is a Google form attached to your assignment. Please fill that out and submit. Thank you.